Hello, today is day 33 of the 100-day project. The 100-day project is something that I found online, and the only requirements are that you choose something and do it every day for 100 days. Most people do something creative. I've been making watercolor marks in this little sketchbook that my daughter gave me for Christmas. It has watercolor paper inside, and I've been making good use of the sample dots of watercolor paints. There's 238 of them altogether, and I've had this card for a few years, and I've been looking for a project that would make good use of all of those different colors of paint, and this is it. So thought this would be a good time to do a flip through of what I've done so far. There are two parts to this process. There is the book that I'm doing the watercolors in, and my book where I'm keeping track of which colors I use, which paints I use each day. And the paints that I'm using for this project are this sample sheet of Daniel Smith watercolors. And I think there's 238 different paint dots here, and I'm working my way through and hope to have used them all up by the end of this 100-day project. So at the moment, I started off, my only plan was to spend 2 days on each page. So the first day I worked with the black paints, and then the day 2 I did the white. I used white paints inside the circle, and there's been some additional interesting marks made when I've on this page I'm keeping track of which days I've finished, and I see I have not added the dot for day 32 yet. But some of those marks have transferred onto my circle, which I kind of like. Some happy accidents there. Days 3 and 4, I worked with the purples in my the purple shades. I came up with that. I used a lot of the purples. Then I went back to blacks and browns and grays. But this is not really what I wanted to do. I wanted things to be more playful and spontaneous, so I used some of my children's drawings from when they were young, and that gave me a good excuse to use some of the glittery, iridescent and sparkly paints, but it still was not what I was really going for. And now I finally start getting into what I was looking for, some spontaneous marks. They're not anything. This one turned into some sort of a creature. This one I'm not happy with, and I'm deliberately leaving it there. I think it's kind of ugly, but I'm deliberately being okay with it not being finished, because that really was what I was after. Another one that I'm not thrilled with, but I'm leaving it as it is. And one thing that I have found, that these little dots are so small that it's very hard to get a nice saturation on a brush, especially if I'm going for a bigger mark. And these small marks here, you can see the intensity of the color is much greater when I used a small brush than when I was working with a big brush. So I'm coming to terms with that. Now these again are more along the lines of what I was looking for, some random mark making, day 1 and 2, more different shapes. And then I got to here, and these creatures just kept calling my name. So in day 2 I did some line work and made them into the creatures that they were asking to be. And then these fire dragons were there as well. So today I'd like to invite you along as I work on day 33, and I add some sort of mark to this page. I don't know what it's going to be, but let's see, which color should I go with? I think one of the pinks, Bordeaux. That has a really nice name. So I'm just going to wet that mark. So this is the process that I've come up with. I wet the mark, wet my brush at the same time, wet the dot, and I let that build up some color. Pick up as much as I can on my brush. Oh, that looks like a beautiful. There, gorgeous. Love it. It adds more color here and there. And I think I'm going to put in another color. Which one? From the same page. Bordeaux, and how about Aussie red gold? Activate that dot. Well, let's see what that becomes. There. And that's it for today. Now all I have to do is record those colors. Those are both new colors, so Aussie red gold, clean my brush off, and Bordeaux. Forgot to mention, in addition to the 100-day project, for the month of February, I did something that I call February knitting. I spent some time every day knitting, and I made myself this shawl. And while I was knitting, I listened to podcasts and videos in Spanish to improve my understanding of the Spanish language. So I've been watching crafty videos, so I know all kinds of really useful terms like cadena al aire, which means something like chain in the air, and it is a crochet stitch.